Okay, so back when I made a video about the classroom of the elite anime, one recurring comment I was getting was how I should read the light novels. And I was like, yeah, okay, how different can it be? Because most anime adaptations aren't so different from the source material. Well, with the few exceptions, of course. So, I picked up the manga first, thinking that was the light novel because I'm dumb. But I later found out there are actual novels out there with words and stuff. And well, I gotta say, I kinda get people's frustration with the anime. So, let's dive in once again into the crazy world of mind games and geniuses. Let's talk about the literary material of the classroom of the elite. In my search for this so-called light novel, I came across the manga. Because that's what you guys were talking about, right? So, after I read the first chapter of the manga, I realized through a comment section somewhere that was not actually the light novel, so I had to actually look for the actual light novel instead. Luckily, I found it. While reading the light novel, I wanted to go back and stick with the manga, but when I was about to end reading the first few chapters, I decided to stick with the light novel instead, which is unusual for me because I would prefer to see the characters while reading them. But then again, the light novel, or at least the version I was reading, introduced certain character portraits at certain points to give you a clear view of what exactly was going on. The light novel is actually good. It really gives you a whole lot of insight into Ayano Koji's mindset, giving you, the reader, what I feel to be a false sense of Ayano Koji's character and personality. Because from what I know from the anime, he's an unreliable narrator, so I made sure to catch certain instances I believe to be him hiding something from us, the reader. For example, this part right here. But my true feelings finally welled up. I was glad to have been admitted here. No one else's eyes or words could ever reach me. I could begin entirely a new life. And also during the parts where they were given a special test, these questions couldn't be geared toward a first-year high school student, but the final 3 questions were clearly from a different quality than the others. So, it was possible they had been put on the test by mistake, even though the results wouldn't be reflected in our grades. What in the hell were they evaluating with this? Well, I guess I'll just solve these problems the same way I did on the entrance exam. The last part really intrigued me, not only because it was in italic, but the way he said it. Normally, readers would just brush it off, but knowing him and what comes after, we know that he has the ability to answer all the questions perfectly, but he chooses not to in order to keep a low profile. He's also able to determine even the level of difficulty of all the questions, so that he can answer them in a way which will create a false depiction of his intelligence. Also, another reason why I prefer the light novels to the manga is that we also get thrusted into his mindset to know what he knows and how he feels about certain characters. The things he doesn't say outright, just to himself, is revealed in the manga with thought bubbles, but with a guy like Ayano Koji, you probably want to know what he is thinking about 24/7, even though he doesn't even express his true feelings to us, the reader. Which is pretty cool and all, but if I would pick up the manga, it would be for just one particular reason, which is the art, bro. I can read novels and stuff for all day, but if there's another options with pictures involved, I'm taking it. Because I'm a doofus who can read books without pictures, I'm just kidding. But with all jokes aside, who is this guy? Who is this imposter? Where's the homie, my boy Ayano Koji? Who is this perverted ass nigga? Ayano Koji is very expressive in the manga and the light novel, I think. So this was kinda like a whole new experience. And if you are like me and watch the anime first, you won't notice that Ayano Koji is very nonchalant. Even at the very beginning, he doesn't talk much and keeps a lot to himself. Like he is observing and having all these deep thoughts in his head like, are all human beings truly equal? Which makes him very mysterious. In the light novels, he is kind of relatable actually. Since we are constantly told what he's thinking, he just comes across as a normal guy who wants to break out of his shell. For example, in the first volume of the light novel, he did want to hang out with Hirata, but because of his popularity with the girls, he just sat back and watched. But at least we do know what he was thinking here compared to the anime. Let me read. Hirata had scanned the classroom, and his eyes met mine. Over here! Notice me, Hirata. There's someone who wants an invitation. Hirata didn't avert his eyes, just as I would expect from someone with a handle in his life who cared about the people in his class. He understood my appeal. Hey, Ayano-ko. Hirata began to call my name, but in that instant, we can also see that in the manga, he is very expressive with his multiple interactions with Horikita. So, my question is, if the light novel is the real, the OG, or the original characterization of Ayano Koji, then who is this man then? Who is this boring ass n***? And why the change? I think I may be able to help with that. Well, it is true that the anime is quite different from the manga or the light novels. Actually, the anime, the manga, and light novels will all give you different experiences. And if you have read the light novels, you will be disappointed with the anime, but I think it all boils down to the experience. With an anime-only experience, you will still get a good story, no doubt, but there are certain things that happened in the manga that might change the characterization of certain characters to appeal to you a bit more, or to give that said character a different kind of vibe. Let's take Ayano Koji for example. In the anime, he's portrayed as a stoic guy and very emotionless, whereas in the manga, he is very expressive and shows an array of emotions. The anime also didn't reflect most of Ayano Koji's thoughts. Most of his internal monologue seems to have been cut, which could have made him appeal to audiences a bit more, but this way, he may come across a bit mysterious, if not boring, depending on how you like your characters by the way. And also, I think it all boils down to the anime director's style. The anime was cut in a way that is fitting for an anime-only experience, so to save time and money, they might have cut out the fluff and certain events which they feel was necessary to progress the story in the way they liked. But in doing so, the removal of certain events and story beats definitely does change your experience, no doubt. So, in short, the anime covers less material than the manga, but in the end, thankfully, they are all telling the same story. It might happen a tad bit differently, but I think the essential story beats are still there nonetheless. But I wouldn't want you to take my word for it, so I would also recommend the light novels too if you ask my opinion on which of them is better. So don't feel bad if you read the manga, because at the very least, the manga does cover the events of the light novel for the most part, while the anime changes them to fit the studio or the director's taste. I didn't really do a whole lot of research for the anime, but they might have been restricted to a 12 episode format, which might have caused them to cram a whole lot into these 12 episodes. I would actually prefer the first season to be at least 24 episodes if that would have done justice to the series. But nonetheless, I still remember to have enjoyed the first season, having no knowledge about the light novels and the manga, so they did do something right at least. With that said, we can safely say the light novel is better than the manga, which is better than the anime. While I will still continue to read both the manga and the light novels, I did decide to get caught up with the second season, which is currently airing, and I gotta say, I'm already disappointed with the season. And not for the reason you might think. I know that they will be omitting certain events or outright change them for various reasons, and I get it, but my gripe with the second season is in its animation. The animation seems to have dwindled in quality for some reason, and if not for the particularly good story, I would have fallen off here to be honest. The first season looked so good, so what the hell happened here? Bruh. The storyboarding of certain scenes just seems so amateurish and uninspired. I could go on a rant about the second season, but I will leave that for another video. But with that said, let me know what you think about the reading material of the Classroom of the Elite. Did you read the manga or did you read the light novel? Let me know that in the comments. Remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I cover the second season of the Classroom of the Elite. And share the video with your friends to keep the discussion going. And always remember to keep moving forward.
股を開け。